Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426 and today we have the review of the real grade or RG Gao Gai Gar. Now when I first heard about this announcement I was very excited because once again Bandai is now recently is now more focusing on non-Gunpla or non-Gundam type product into other of their regular lines. So once I heard that they were going to make a like updated GaoGaiGar kit, because back then we only have a super mini pla or we would have something very older, which I believe has a lot of issues going on here, but still I was very excited. So I believe the actual kit was released 2 weeks ago in Japan, and I believe there was a huge sellout regarding that, because to the point where even scalpers didn't have enough. Like wherever you go it would be sold out here. And yesterday was the release date in Korea and there was a long line that I actually had to wait for 2 hours just to get into the Gundam base mall shop, and then waited roughly another hour just to actually, you know, get the product, you know, sold to me, because because you obviously need to pay the product. So yeah, so I started building this last night and finished building it up to this morning. After building the entire stuff, I actually tried the combination here, or the final fusion there. Well, I will say I actually enjoyed the building process. There's more pluses than minuses. However, that one minus that I'm having is just way too critical, to the point where I don't think I'll be buying more GaoGaiGar kits in real grade unless they fix that issue. I'm pretty sure Bandai's already working on a either Genesis GaoGaiGar or the GaoGaiGar. Either way, unless they fix that one issue, I don't think I'll be buying those kits. I'll get into that later. But for now, just to start off, this review will be a 3-part review. On part 1, we will be showing you each of the components as well, and then on part 2 we will be showing you guys the final fusion process, how you're supposed to combine this guy, and in part 3 we will show you guys GaoGaiGar in terms of his articulation or other stuff that I need to mention. Alright, so now let's get on to the review. So as usual, let's go over components, because there's a lot of stuff on here, so which is why I'm not able to show you guys everything at the moment here. So first of all, let's talk about the main components. So first of all, you get Galeon. Here is the main guy. Here's the main unit that becomes the base of GaoGaiGar as well. Currently I put in Galeon, but he can actually transform into Gaigar, which is very crucial. If it wasn't that case, this guy would never exist. But still, once again, the build is very well done. Actually reminds me of the old DX toy I actually had as a kid, and that DX toy was very good when you come to think of it. Of course, the only thing it was lacking was maybe ankle joints, but yeah, that was the time where ankle joints did not exist in any toy. Here is the Stealth Gal. Once again, they did an excellent job on the design. I actually do like these stealth type fighters or jets. I really am a big fan of those, which is why I really love the design in general. So once again, I should mention there's no polycaps in this kit. Number 2, they did not use there are stickers, but it's really your choice whether to use them or not. So once again, all these parts here, even this section right over here, is all color separated pieces right over here. So that's very well done. And they even did these small vents here. So they were very paying attention to the details very well as well. So well done. And as you can see, here is the bottom, which you should, for those who know the series, you should know what these are. But for now, let's put that away. Here we have I believe this guy was called Drill Gal or something like that, but still, these will become the legs of GaoGaiGar. And once again, like the original DX toy, you can actually split them up. And other than the combination, there is another way you can use this with a Gaigar. So yeah, very well done. And you can spin the drill if you want to do so, but it is a bit tight there. So yeah, and then we have these treads here. Now right now it may not look like it, but you can actually these treads are supposed to move like that, so that's pretty well done. Definitely did not expect them to go this far. And then here we have Liner Gal, which is basically a Japanese express train or bullet train, whatever you call it these days. Now I'm pretty sure you should have seen the comments by now, or not comments, but any info by now about these window sections here are all stickers, but these are not your typical paper stickers. These are actually, according to the man, called plastic stickers. So once again, I think they did a pretty good job on the looks here. So I'm not disappointed at this. I mean, it's only logical to go like this, because you're already seeing like gray, black, blue, 3 colors on the window. So doing color separations on this is going to be very difficult, even with today's engineering. So yeah. And they even got small details like these front lights here and in the window. So well done. And then for Gaigar, currently I'm using the fist hands here, but you also get a standard open size hand going on here as well. Those hands should be just pretty much the same size as a 1-144 Gunpla hand. Anyway, so now let's talk about the stuff that you won't be using right away in this current state. So in part one, I think most of these stuff won't be very used. So number one, here we have this. This is a effect part for GaoGaiGar. So this is the Protect Shade. So this is like supposed to be an effect part, basically meant for defense. But once again, I'm not even sure if I can show you guys this demonstration, because that critical issue that I'm constantly mentioning is very crucial to using this. Alright, and then here we have the dividing driver. Now once again, I wouldn't consider this as a full-fledged weapon. I mean, you could, in the show he does technically use it, but its main purpose is kind of interesting. So yeah, this is basically, as you can see, it's literally a screwdriver on the front, and there is actually pretty fun stuff. So number one, the screwdriver part, this is actually metal, literal metal, and even these pistons here you see are also metal, so that's pretty cool if you ask me. And then there's actually a piston gimmick right over here. It's because they actually make you put a real full-fledged spring inside, so I was very, very surprised on that aspect as well. So, well, very well done. And then, yeah, this is actually technically a more of an equipment where you use it for a very specific purpose. And the main purpose of this equipment would be to basically make a small dimension. You would jab this onto the ground, and it would open up a small dimension so that he can fight very freely against his enemies. So because you don't want to, if for example, let's say an enemy appeared inside a city, you don't want to destroy the city entirely. So he would use this, make another small dimension so he can fight freely against his enemies. So that is what you're supposed to use for. But once again, this is meant for GaoGaiGar. Here we have some adapters. Now these I believe are for Stealth Gao, if I remember correctly, so that's that. And then here we have this specific very important hand, which is also meant for GaoGaiGar, so this one's kind of crucial. And then here we have more adapters going on here. So this one is for the Stealth Gao and Liner Gao, sorry about that. Well, technically you do need to attach this to Stealth Gao at the same time. And here we have an adapter for Gaigar if you want to use it on an action base. So meaning that you need to have the reverse plug, not the typical action base where it has the peg here. You need to have the one that has the opposite peg. So you have to plug this into the action base. So that's going to be tricky, which I don't have. And here we have the faceplate of GaoGaiGar. Now technically this should be in Stealth Gao, but once again, these are one of the issues that I'm having, which I will mention later. And here we have this small adapter for the broken magnum, technically meant for GaoGaiGar, and also according to the manual, you do still need this for a specific expansion part for GaoGaiGar, which is the Goldie Mag. And here we have the leftover cable, which I will explain later where this goes. And yeah, so let's see what we got. So number one, let's look at Galeon first. So Galeon, once again, here, this is the main mech unit that is also the base for GaoGaiGar. Basically, well, it may not look much, but this is supposed to be a lion rather than a tiger. But still, I think they did a really good job. It really reminds me of the old DX toy I actually used to have. Back in the DX toys, this everything the face here, if I remember correctly, was actually gold. So yeah, pretty cool. And they did a really good job on the clear pieces, on the eyes, the nose, the teeth. Everything you see here are all color separated pieces. Even pretty much everything you see is color separated. There is one sticker I did use, but you may not be able to see it right now. Now, transforming this guy into Gaigar is very simple. It's just a matter of pretty much stretching everything up here. So I'm just going to put the tail back in here and then just fold any parts that's necessary for now. And at this point, basically what you do here is, actually, come on, close up. So basically make him stand up here. And then you put the feet here, and then from here it's pretty much cleaning up the whole situation here. So once again, it's gonna take a long time for me to like show you guys every process here. Part 2, I'm going to show you guys the combination process, but I'm not going to be showing you guys every process here. So I'll be right back with Gaigar finished. Okay, I'm back. So here we have Gaigar ready, and right next to it is a 1-to-144 skill Gunpla kit, to be more specific, the HCC Nemo. Now regarding skill, I'm not gonna calculate anything for you guys. The manual or the box or anything does not mention anything about the scale. Now, you may have noticed, especially with this recent real grades, especially with non-Gundam or non-Gunpla real grades, they do not mention the scale anymore. So at this point, it's not a really big deal. I would like to mention this once again, the grade does not indicate the scale. Just because it's HG doesn't mean it's 1 to 144 scale. Just because it's master grade doesn't mean it's 1 to 100 scale automatically. That's just the way how Bandai worked, but that's not how it works, okay? Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now let's look at the articulation of this guy. So at the moment, I don't have any problems with this one. I have zero issues with Gaigar. Mostly I have issues with GaoGaiGar, with his specific parts. But for now, let's see what we got. So once again, I think they did a really good job. Still really reminding me of the old DX toy I actually have. I'm starting to regret that I got rid of that a long time ago. But yeah, I think they did a really good job for that. It really reminds me of that product. So the head, now because of the color being extremely wide, my camera is having slight troubles, focusing on that. But so sorry about that issue. But once again, everything you see here is all color separated pieces. Even the piece on the forehead. The only sticker I did use on this guy are the eyes. Now technically the eyes inside are supposed to be orange. There is an orange piece on the inside, but they all kind of. But the eye stickers also had these black linings on the outside, which is why I decided to use them. So, and this guy actually does have a facial expression, but it's more of a neutral facial expression compared to the more aggressive, facial expression that he does in the show. So yeah, that might be a little bit lacking, but still, for what it is, they did a really good job. Now for articulation here, so once again the arms can go 360 here. Now I would like to mention that the shoulder parts, this armor is actually a separate piece, not connected to the main arm, so do be aware of that. So because of that aspect, going to the opening to the side might be tricky because this part is also only limited up to this part opening section. So going 90 degrees is not going to be that easy. So I mean, you're going to have to like work your way around and kind of force it like that. So yeah, doing a very specific pose from the series might be tricky. But yeah, going 360, as I mentioned, is possible. And then the arm articulation is pretty well done. 360 twist, also possible. And you can open this section up if you want to extend the shoulder articulation. But this is more for the Final Fusion. But the shoulder articulation is there. You can see there are multiple joints here, so you can extend the joint out, and then you can actually go to the side 90 degrees or even more. So be aware of that, because these are the type of joints that you just practically push in when you are building, and you can kind of forget about its existence at some point. So be aware that it is there. And then the wrist area, this part also has its own rotation here, so that's that. And the hands are your typical hands that you see in regular kits, so no big deal. So that's that. Okay, there we go. And then the body is supposed to go through, you are supposed to go 360 because of the combination and doing other stuff. So 360 should be no problem as well. It should go 360 as well. And then there is not much of an ab crunch. I mean, there is slight movement, but not really meant to be that. Now for the legs or waist section, there's no front skirt. In Gaigar's form, there's no front skirt, but there is a back skirt. But when you go to GaoGaiGar, there's going to be a front skirt and a side skirt as well. So that's going to be something tricky to explain, but still that's that. And for the legs, you can see there is the system where you can kind of relocate the leg position if you want to do so. If you want to go upwards, you can do that. If you want to go downwards, you can do that as well. And then you have get a very nice side swivel going on here. Going forward, no problem as well. Going to the side, no problem as well. Going to the back, you can actually move the back skirt as well. So going to the back, no problem as well. So very well done. And then bend wise, you get a very nice bend going on here. Now once again, the joints here might seem a little bit odd when you're first building these, so just bear with me. And then for this part, we actually have this part that can go inside, but this is more for the combination, so no need to worry about that. Feet, the pivot joint isn't that great. There's not much space for the feet, so you do get a slight movement here on the feet here, but that's pretty much it. And you can go downwards, but once again, this is more for the combination. Alright, so that's that. And before we go to part 2, there is actually some other stuff you can do with Gaigar and the Stealth Gao and then the Real Gao. Now technically you are able to do something together with these two as well. So for example, for those who haven't seen the series, is that these things would actually fly towards, you know, Gaigar to do the combination here. So now this guy can fly around, no problem. This guy can dig around the city, so no problem. But this guy, being a train, is kind of limited to where he can go. So sometimes in the series, the Stealth Gal would actually carry this guy around like this. It may look a little bit silly, but that's just the way how it is in this show. Alright, so we're done with that section over there. So I'll be right back with these two combined with Gaigar. Okay, I'm back. So here, before you can do the final fusion, you can actually make this form if you want to do so. So this form, I'm just going to mention that this is something that Gaigar can technically do, but he doesn't really use this as often in the series. I think he used this like less than 3 times, I believe. The only theme that I can actually remember him using this was actually for a mock battle / training session. But other than that, he really has no reason to use this form as far as I know. But yeah, I mean, the combination works pretty well, and the old DX toy actually could do the same thing, although the way how you combine the parts were slightly different, but still I'm surprised they actually utilized this into the kit as well. So once again, excellent job. Still reminds me of the old DX toy. I'm really regretting that I got rid of that at the time. Alright, so this is the end of part 1. Before we end of part 1, here is some sticker sheets I should mention. So number 1, here is that plastic sticker sheet I was mentioning about for the liner gal. So obviously if you use everything, you won't have any leftover pieces. And here we have some sticker decal sheets, all sorts of details and all sorts of, you know, shiny stickers or like realistic decals that are according to the manual. So it's really up to you to use all of these or not, because once again in the anime there's not many details that actually show here. So yeah, it's really up to your taste. Alright, so as I mentioned before, this was part 1, and on part 2 I will be showing you guys how to combine all parts to make GaoGaiGar. So once again, stay tuned, and yeah, all 3 videos will be uploaded today.